Hey folks, I'm here at F64 Live. I'm sitting here with Brad Thontlin. I'm going to be talking about photography and some reasons why he's here, and then we're going to dive into his photography and why he shoots what he shoots and how he does it. Brad, welcome to F64.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah?
It's a great time. Morning session was busy, several other photographers.
I heard it was boring.
I was with Tim Engel. It was definitely not boring. There wasn't a boring moment.
Yeah, Tim's awesome. So Tim is the MacGyver of photographers. Like,
right.
You could look at a shot that some people use pro photo gear and the best cameras and all this stuff, and then Tim could recreate that shot in Home Depot.
Yeah, we did.
Right?
We did buy a cheap light set. We used that light, and we had some mirrors bouncing, looked like Star Wars from the outside and to the inside of the theater, and we had amazing light.
Yeah, that's good. You and I were talking before we started recording this interview, and that was the idea of it's not about the journey. Some people say it's about the journey, not the destination. In photography, it's about the destination, not the journey, right? In terms of art, the creation of art. It's about the art that you create. How you got there is irrelevant, except to other photographers. Right. Right. They're the only ones.
That's the conversation is all the stuff that you did to get to this point.
Yeah.
To other photographers.
Yeah. That's who else is interested in that?
Nobody.
You talk to like a wedding photographer, and it's interesting because I see wedding photographers online that will, they post their work and they talk about f-stop shutter speeds and the latest Canon camera and all. I'm shooting with a Fuji full frame now. All this. They'll talk about all that stuff.
What's your settings?
Yeah, that stuff. But you ask them, okay, why are you online? Because I want to get more brides. Brides don't care about that stuff. Yeah. They care about the shot and how you're going to make their lives easier. So let's talk about your photography, though. So I heard a rumor that you know your way around a camera or two.
Yeah. That's probably true.
Yeah, start with your history. So not the fourscore history, but why are you a photographer today?
Well, starts at the beach, and like everybody, start with landscapes, and then people come over to you and say, "Hey, can you take my picture?" And I had a fancy camera from Best Buy. And I looked like I knew what I was doing, and I didn't have any idea what I was doing. And I knew that if I turn this dial this way and turn that dial that way and press this button, I might get a shot.
Yeah.
And then I would try, 8,000 other times and eventually get to that. And to the point where a lot of my stuff I started was at the beach. I was almost going to throw the camera in the water because it was the camera that wasn't taking a good picture. I had a friend that set me up with a private photography lesson about a year after I started playing with this camera. And then in my private lesson, it's hard for the instructor to even start with me because I knew more, but I didn't know anything. And I had some good shots, makes it easy outdoors and on the beach and golden hour light. And then it turned into more people. Now I actually had a little knowledge of what I was actually doing and what it meant. And I'm just a sponge absorbing education, ideas from other photographers, what has worked, or try this or try that, whether it's gear, whether it's lens, whether it's light, just understanding it. And then for me, I have to have it in my hands. I could read about it, I can listen to it. If I can't do it and I can't see it, it doesn't mean anything to me. So I just tried, and I have hundreds of thousands of shots of failures that aren't even worth keeping. Just delete them and move on. And now I'm to the point after many years of classes, shops like this, and networking with other photographers and physically doing it. That's kind of how I got to where I'm at.
Yeah. Fail forward, right?
I definitely failed forward.
Yeah.
Failed a lot.
Yeah, but that's the thing, right? It sounds like a negative thing, but it's not.
Right.
Because
not at all.
you could stay in one spot and be quote safe, right, and never do anything, or you could keep trying and fail and keep trying. At least by failing, you know what didn't work,
right.
And if you learn from your mistakes, then you can adjust and move forward. And each failure adds more to your repertoire of things you know how to do and what not to do.
Right. I got handed boxes of trinkets for trade show shops down in the beach communities, tourist trinkets, and she handed me a box and said, please photograph these. I want to sell these on my website. I want to put pictures around this shop to be able to sell. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. I had no idea how to light it. I had no idea even what was the best lens choice. And I mean, I remember something that was like the size of a keychain. I spent hours and hours and hours looking at it going, I wouldn't want that. I wouldn't use that. And I mean, I took bedroom sheets, pillowcases, flashlights, everything just to try to make it work. And then I presented them to her and I was like, here you go. You know, and those kinds of failures, they were still good enough for her, but she probably wasn't. And
you weren't satisfied with it as an artist, and that's the important thing, right? Because you could, I know exactly the feeling you're talking about. Because if you know what you want and you can't quite get there, you know what you're shooting for, you can't quite get there, but you have to deliver something. You know it's not your level of what you wanted to deliver. That brings a certain kind of angst.
Yes,
right?
It does. Yes, it does. It forced me to learn.
Yeah.
It forced me to come to workshops like this, and forced me to learn. It forced me to ask other photographers, like, hey, what have you done in this situation, or how do you do this? I'm not afraid to ask. That's the other thing, is putting yourself out there, understanding, talking with people, and being able to process what they tell you.
Yeah.
And not taking it for rule either. It's an idea. That's the way that they learned, or that's what they've used. It's not like that's a hard, fast rule. It had to be this way.
You know, they call it modalities of learning, right? So everyone's different. We all learn differently. We all absorb information differently. You know, you might be a learner. Like, for example, I'm a learner. I'll get excited about something, and then I'll have to absorb YouTube videos and do all this stuff and then I'll go try it, and and then, okay, I got it, right? Some people need other humans to ask questions to, like, oh, can you show me how to do this again? Like in environments like this. And then they got it, right? Some people could just read a book, and they got it. Which one are you?
Probably all of it.
Yeah, right.
You have to.
It's not. There are no lines between that stuff.
Yeah, honestly, I'm probably all of it. You have to. And some of it could even be motivation versus learning. You might know it, but you need the motivation, somebody else's motivation. To try this angle or try this. I almost like to try it and then read up on it and then go try it again, and then even see my progress just in those steps there is, try it, go back.
Try it the way that I think it should be done, and then realize, maybe succeed. And if you don't succeed, then, go find out how to do it correctly and figure out where you went wrong, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. What are you shooting with these days?
Well, I have a Canon 5D Mark IV camera. It's not mirrorless. I also have some old film cameras, which have helped me understand light a little bit easier.
Cool.
I had a friend that got me into film. It's kind of like going backwards. I have medium format, I have large format.
Very cool.
And to see some of those negatives from that and the detail in that, I have a medium format camera that I take out and about and just go shoot for fun. And it's film, and it's comparable to the quality of my new Canon 5D Mark IV with any of the lenses that I have. And it amazes me that it's that old of a camera. And
we're scratching and clawing to get back to what we had digitally when we already had it. Right. And the other interesting thing about film is you have to be much more considerate. I learned on film in 36 exposure rolls or 12 on on medium format or whatever, right?
So one sheet for large format.
Or one sheet, 4x5 or 8x10, right? So it's not like you're just gonna be like boom and just keep doing it. With these cameras that we have today, you press the shutter button down, you're rattling off gigabytes of images in a matter of seconds. Back then, it was, okay, let me make sure lighting's right. What's my shutter speed? Is everything right? Okay, click, right?
Absolutely.
Right?
I think the film, I did not shoot film. I started straight in digital and went backwards into film. And I think that has tremendously helped me see light in photography. It also put the respect into setting it up right with lighting, anything in advance, and then it's reduced my digital imprint, so to speak. Is I no longer take 80,000 photos for one photo, as I might take 1,000. Whereas to film, you get one shot, especially with the 1 4x5 sheet for large format.
Absolutely, yeah. On one of the other interviews in this series, I was talking to Peter Reed Miller,
Yeah.
who's a sports photographer and has been one for 40 years.
Yeah.
So he's seen it all.
I
you
couldn't
know?
imagine shooting film in instances like sports photography.
It's shooting slide film.
Yeah.
The forgiveness or latitude on slide film is plus or minus, if you're lucky, a third of a stop
Right.
before you lose your shadows or blow your highlights. So you got to nail that, and then you got to nail the focus. He was shooting manual focus too. So imagine that. No computer assistance.
That's why he's Peter.
That's why he's Peter.
he's Peter.
That's why he's Peter.
I couldn't imagine that.
So okay, so what do we have now? So if people want to see some of the work that you're working on now, and some of your successes and failures, if you post those,
Right.
where should they go? Where are you at online?
My Instagram is probably the most up to date. It's Photog Brad on Instagram, and you'll see a variety of landscapes. You'll see food because I was out to dinner and the lighting was just right. So with my cell phone, I had to take a great image. That's just what we do, is take an opportunity of it.
Why not?
You'll see some film on there. You'll see, portraits. You'll see headshots. You'll see pretty much everything that's out there.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Awesome. Well, thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you're enjoying this workshop, I assume?
Yeah, this is great. It's fun. It's a great network opportunity to speak to other people, to learn. I'm never one, even if I were to that point in my career where I could say I know it all. You're never there.
Yeah.
You get different ideas, different motivation.
Yep.
You learn new companies. Some of the sponsors of the events, there's new ideas that they're bringing out to get us to think differently, more creatively.
Yeah. Yep, that's right. And you know what? What I would tell you is, why are you sitting here talking to me?
I should be right behind you.
You should be over there shooting, man. Get out here.
All right,
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Have a good one.
Take care.